Hi, it's Rabbi Kigel from Emet Outreach, and I want to share with you a few thoughts from this week's Torah portion called Shmini. Now, a major part of this week's Torah portion deals with kashrut, which animals are kosher, which animals are not kosher, which animals we can eat, which animals we can't eat. Now, this is something as a Jew, right, a lot of us are dealing with all the time, and it's important to know where these laws come from and if they have any benefit for us today. Now, the first thing we have to know about kashrut, right, is that the reason for kashrut is not because being kosher is in any way, shape, or form healthy. We have a proof for that. Jewish people are not healthier than anyone else. The laws of kashrut is not in any way, shape, or form because at some point the pig was a dirty animal that had bacteria and now it's clean. That's also not true. Actually, as a matter of fact, I've seen some cows that they don't really seem so clean to me either, the way they live. You know, I certainly wouldn't want a cow in my living room. So it's not because the pig is less clean than the cow or the lamb or anything like that. Actually, the laws of kashrut is a special decree for Hashem that we don't fully understand. And even though we don't fully understand it, I would like to share a thought that I had about kashrut with you. When we have children, and we try to educate them in Judaism, when they're very young and their minds don't work so well, we really don't get in their way. Like, let's say they want to turn on a light on Shabbat, or they want to do something else that's not 100% according to the law. However, we never give them non-kosher food to eat, right? Why not? Well, the reason is our rabbis teach us that something about eating non-kosher food actually plays in a way with our soul, and so much so that it says if you eat non-kosher food, you're not going to think as clearly as you do as if you eat kosher food. Now, I don't think that means you're not going to think as clearly in mathematics, but I do think it means that you're not going to think as clearly about spiritual matters as you would if you're eating kosher food. As a matter of fact, I work for a college outreach organization, and what we do is we tell people, college students, and really all students, about Judaism. And one of the things that we try to do very hard before we talk to anyone is give them some kosher food to eat. Why? It's not just because people are hungry and you should feed them. It's for a little bit of a different reason. When people eat kosher food, it unclogs their spiritual arteries. That's how I like to view it. Now, 100 years ago, we did not know about cholesterol and about how eating fatty foods is bad for you, and it clogs your arteries and it causes heart disease and early death and things like that. We didn't know that, right? And now, recently, in the last 50 years or so, scientists were able to figure that out. And they said, look, if you eat this fatty, juicy steak, even though it's delicious, it's going to raise your cholesterol and could cause problems further down the line. Now, in the same vein, everyone knows there's an old saying, you are what you eat. In the same vein, when you eat non-kosher food, it clogs your spiritual arteries. And when you eat kosher food, it unclogs your spiritual arteries. Now, the fact of the matter is, when you're able to do this, when you're able to purify your diet in a way that you're eating kosher food, you are much more apt to understand Hashem, to understand God, to understand Hashem, to understand the Torah, and other things like that. Why? Because kosher food is unclogging your spiritual arteries, and non-kosher food is doing the opposite. It's clogging your spiritual arteries. So I would like all of us to be so happy when we eat kosher food, because why? We're unclogging our spiritual arteries, and we're going to be able to understand and perceive Hashem and His Torah so much better.